doing our new chapter, that is two story about flying. So there are two story under this chapter. So first is his first flight by Liam O. Hartley, and another is the Black Aeroplane by Frederick Fortsey. With the first flight by Liam O. Hartley is a motivational story. So it's about a young bird, okay, that is afraid to fly for the first time because he believes that his wing will not support him. Okay, so despite his younger brothers who has already fly without any fear, he could not gather that courage to do the same. So he was punished to stay hungry if he did not try this. All right, so the mother is compelled him to fly by using food as a trap. So this lesson reflects how one hesitates to take the first step. Okay, and that fears is all in the mind. So one should trust one's ability because the fear of suffering is worse than suffering itself. So this is the reflection of the story. Was alone on his sledge. His two brothers and his sisters had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he tried, he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempt to flap his wing. He became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So you can see the bird seagull over here. So ledge means the cliff. है कुनै पनि चिजको डिललाई we call it ledge in English. Even building को हुन्छ. Yeah, you can see that building को balcony को टुप्पो छ, that is also a ledge, है जहाँ चाहिँ एकदम गहिरो हुन्छ अनि त्यहाँदेखि मुनि चाहिँ. So brink भनेको the extreme edge of land before the steep slope, है brink भन्दाखेरि you can see over here यो एकदमै टुप्पोलाई चाहिँ this is a brink. Okay, expanse भनेको is a wide continuous area of something. कुनै पनि कुरा एकदम फैलिएको, that is an expanse. So the story is about a young seagull. Is a bird, a young seagull who is at the stage that life where he has learned to fly. The story is telling that his younger brother who has already learned to fly, and unlike his brothers and sisters, he is too afraid to fly. So when all of them went for flying for the first time near the edge of the sea, all of them except him succeeded. So he could not trust his wing, Mandesa. He could not trust his wing, so he got terrified by the vast sea and got convinced that he could never fly. And as a result, he was disheartened, so he went back inside the ledge, a small hole, so under the small hole under the ledge where he slept that night. Of his brother and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away. He failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around, calling him shrilly, upbraided him, threatening to let them stop on his ledge unless he flew away, but the life of him he could not move. Okay, so flap means to move his wing. तलमाथि गरेर flap गर्नुहुन्छ. Muster भनेको to gather. Plunge भनेको jump. अनि shrilly भनेको with a high pitch. ठुलो एकदम हाई पिचमा कराउनुलाई we call it shrilly. Upbraided भनेको scold, कराउनु नै हो त्यो पनि. Okay, so high पिचमा कराउनु. Alright. Younger brother अथवा younger siblings and brother and sister भन्दैछ managed to take their first flight. Okay, despite of their wings being shorter than his. Shorter than him. उसको भन्दा छोटो पखेटा भएर पनि his brother and sister were able to fly, but he could not summon the courage. He could not gather that courage भन्दैछ नि muster. He could not gather that courage to take the plunge अथवा to take the jump or dive. उसकोमा he could not collect that courage. So he was scolded by his parents for not trying again. His father for not trying again, and they threatened him that he will leave him to starve. उनीहरु भने त यदि एकदम जोरले एकदम ठुलो स्वरमा कराउँदै भने कि if you don't dive अथवा if you don't try flying, you will है स्टार्भ है तँलाई चाहिँ रातभरि के हुन्छ भोकै बस त्यही लेजमा बस्नु तँलाई भोकै राख्छु खाना पनि दिँदिन भनेर यसको प्यारेन्ट्सले करायो भन्दैछ है तर पनि त्यत्रो कराउँदा पनि he could not move 4 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brother and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the water and blow to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it, standing on the rock while his parents circled around raising a proud cackle, and all the morning the whole family had walked about in the on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. Okay, herring भनेको soft अथवा fin sea fish हो माछा भनौँ है devour भनेको eat quickly, cackle means to laugh in a loud or harsh way. Okay, cowardice भनेको lack of bravery है डरपोक भनिन्छ हामी for a day है अनि he tried because his parent after he tried because his parent was busy focusing on his sibling है when they were focusing on his sibling अनि के फोकस गर्दैछ भन्दा चाहिँ his parent was helping his sibling to master the art of flying and diving for the food that is fish हैन herring भन्दैछ okay अनि his older sibling even caught his first fish है अथवा फर्स्ट prey which he proudly ate at the rock भन्दैछ है अनि while his parent celebrated अनि that morning that morning चाहिँ what their parent did was they taunt him है taunt भनेको जिस्काउनु अथवा गिजाउनु भनौँ न taunt him for his cowardness. Alright, ascending the sky, blazing on his legs that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. He stepped out slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg and other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. Still, they took no notice of him. He saw his two brother and sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their head sunk into their neck. His father was peering the leather feather off on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on the little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wait it. Okay, ascending the sky भनेको उठेर आउनु. Okay, rise through the air. Preying भनेको to tidy or the clean its feather. Hump is a round mass of the ortholand. Hump normally हामी केमा देख्छौं animals मा देख्छौं हैन we can see in animal को पछाडी के हुन्छ hump हुन्छ त्यो खालको अर्थ अथवा ल्यान्ड यसले उठेको छ that is called hump. Scrap भनेको त्यसलाई डिस्कार्ड अथवा च्यात्नु भनिन्छ हैन अनि wheat भनेको to sharpen है उधाउनु अथवा त्यसलाई उधाउनुलाई we call it wheat. Risen अनि he was feeling the heat more than ever because he was hungry. He hadn't eaten since the previous night. So he stepped slowly out of the brink of the list. Dilma आयो भन्दैछ अनि डिलमा आएर चाहिँ he pretended to sleep on one leg so that his family can see him attention पाउन लागि he was trying उले acting गर्दैछ अनि तर no one noticed him nobody noticed him because he saw his two brother and sister lying on the plateau dozing off सुतिरहेको उले देख्यो अनि his father was cleaning the feather only his mother was looking at him and she was standing in the high hump of the on the plateau भन्दैछ हामी यसो के भन्छ जो अलि उठेको जग्गामा बसेर उलाई हेर्दै थियो अनि हेर्दै गरेछ now again what she did was she tore the piece of fish अनि त्यो that lay in her feet अनि त्यसलाई यता निकाल्दै स्क्रैप गर्दै थियो अनि that side त्यो जुन दृश्य थियो आमाले गर्दै गरेको त्यो देख्दा उ पागल जस्तो भयो भन्दैछ because he was very very hungry अनि he also loved to tear that way like his mother scraping the beak now and again त्यसलाई उधाउनु he loved to do that thing भन्दैछ he cried begging her to bring him some food. Gao Kola, she screamed back derisively. but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapped the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across, but when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within the reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. So, derisively भनेको in matter of expression, contempt or ridicule भन्छ. It's ridicule means we call it गिजाउँदै, जिस्काउँदै. ओके एक्सप्रेस गर्नु कसैलाई गिजाउँदै खिसी गर्दै अथवा जिस्काउँदै एक्सप्रेसनलाई वी कल इट डिरिसिभली प्लेनेटिभ भनेको इज भेरी स्याड अटर्ड भनेको मेक अ साउन्ड विथ वन्स भोइस अनि हल्टेड भनेको स्टप लिटल सिगुल इज क्राइड है गा गा भन्दै क्राइड बेगिङ फर द फुड अनि आमाले पनि स्क्रिम ब्याक डिरिसिभली भन्दै गिजाउँदै गा कल आ भन्दै कराउन थाले भन्दैछ बट हि किप कलिङ पेनेटिभली होइन एकदम निराश भएर आमालाई फुडको लागि हि वाज कलिङ but after a minute that sadness became a joyful because he saw his mother bringing the fish towards him है अनि he leaned out very eagerly भनेर tapping the rock with his feet trying to get nearer to her as she flew across है अनि जब त्यो चाहिँ when she was just opposite of him है एकदम छेउमा आउँदैछ आमा आउँदैछ अनि जस्ट अपोजिट छेउमा आइपुगेपछि सी हल्टेड है आमा अचानक रोक्यो भन्दैछ अनि हर फाइट विङ्स वाज मोसनलेस चलाएको थिएन भन्दैछ है अनि जुन माछा छ जुन फिस छ अब इन हर पिक है चोचमा जुन फिस छ त्यो फिस पनि के भयो एकदम त्यही के भरे त्यो उसकै मुखकै छेउमा पुग्नु आँटेको छ है अनि he waited a moment in surprise उसको के अरे त्यो सानो सिगुल was very surprised किनभने why that fish is not coming near why she is not bringing that fish nearer है अनि त्यो एकदम उसलाई भोकले एकदम पागल भएको कारणले गर्दा he dived at the fish scream he fell down upwards and downwards into space. Then a monotonous terror seized him and his heart stood still. He could not hear nothing. But it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outward. The wing rushed against his breast feather and then under his stomach and against his wing. He could feel the tip of his wing cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wing once and he soared upward. Ga, 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 ga. Call ah, his mother swooped past him. Her wings make a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. So monotorous means horrible, seize भनेको grab, headlong भनेको with the head foremost अगाडि टाउको अगाडि उदेनेर अथवा टाउको अगाडि जानलाई headlong भन्छ. Soaring means to fly. Okay, swoop भनेको move rapidly to downwards through the air. है अनि curveting भनेको perform a series of jump in a hind leg. Okay, त्यो खुट्टा सो गरेर जम्प गरेको जस्तै गर्नु त्यसलाई चाहिँ curveting भन्छ. So he got so excited for the food because he was very hungry हैन अनि एकदमै एक्साइटेड भएर he just jumped toward the आमा भएकोमा त्यो आमाको बिकमा त्यो माछा पक्र्नलाई he just jumped उसले डाइभ गर्दा चाहिँ उ चाहिँ for the moment he thought कि he is in the he was falling in the upward and downwards into the space भन्दैछ है एकदम हावामा उडेको झरेको जस्तो he fell and then monotonous terror seized him एकदम उसलाई डर भयो भन्दैछ है but it lasted only for a moment है अनि because soon his feather opened you feel that उसको feather चाहिँ open भएको अनि it was touching his breast अनि stomach भनेको त्यो बिस्तारै बिस्तारै के थियो हल्लिँदै थियो भनेछ so what happens is he could feel wind against his breast feather stomach and his wind right? So he could feel his wing cutting through the air right? He was not afraid anymore भन्दैछ हैन सो ही वाज जस्ट बिट नर्भस किनभने उलाई के भन्दैछ ही फिल बिट डिजी है उलाई एकदम रिङ्गटा लागे जस्तो मात्रै भयो अनि देन ही फ्ल्याप्ड हिज विङ है उले आफ्नो पखेटा फ्ल्याप गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ ही सो उ माथि उड्यो सोर्ड भनेको माथि अपवर्ड है माथि उडेको उले उड्नु सक्यो भन्दैछ देन ही साउटेड एकदम एक्साइटमेन्टमा गा 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 गाउ का भन्दै उसको मामालाई उसको आमालाई उयो के गर्दै कराउँदै हि सुप डाउनवर्ड्स भन्दैछ ऱ्यापिडली होइन अनि उसको आमाले पनि अर्को आवाज हि एन्सर ओके हिज उसलाई भोकले गर्दा है द सिगुल वाज सो मच हङ्ग्री कि अनि त्यो हङ्गरनेसमा चाहिँ डिड नट रियलाइज उ जस्ट त्यो आमाको बिगको जुन माछा माथि मात्रै के गर्यो भन्दैछ डाइभ गर्यो भन्दैछ डाइभ गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सडनली हि फाउन्ड हिमसेल्फ इन्टु द स्पेस है ऊ एकदम स्पेसमा हावामा हि वाज आउटवर्ड्स डाउनवर्ड्स गर्दै ऊ झरिरहेको थियो अनि झर्दाखेरि चाहिँ देयर वाज अ हरिबल एकदम डरलाग्दो उसको मनमा के भयो डर पस्यो चिसो पस्यो भन्दैछ अनि किनभने उसले एकदम उसलाई याद छैन ऊ त झर्दैछ होइन त्यत्रो ठुलो अल्गो ठाउँदेखि ऊ झर्दैछ अनि हिज हार्ट स्टुल स्टिल उसको मुटु नै के भयो काम गर्न छोड्यो है एकदम नहली बस्यो भने अनि हि कुड नट हियर एनिथिङ तर यो चाहिँ जस्ट लास्टेड फर अ मिनट भन्दैछ है किनभने द नेक्स्ट मोमेन्ट के भन्दैछ हिज फेदर ओपन एज हि फ्लाइट है उसको एकदम के हो उसको यहाँ भन्दैछ स्विङ स्प्रेड आउटवर्ड है उसको अचानक धर्दा आफै के भयो उसको विङ चाहिँ बाहिर स्प्रेड गर्यो अनि द विन्ड हि कुड फिल द विन्ड अगेन्स्ट हिज ब्रेस फेदर स्टोमक अनि उसको विङ्स है अनि हि कुड फिल द विन्ड कटिङ थ्रु द एयर है एकदम उडेको उसले के गर्यो हि क्यान फिल द्याट वान सो हि नो लङ्गर वाज एफ्रेड अफ द्याट है उसलाई यति मात्रै अलिकति फिल बिट डिजी होइन एकदम रिङ्गटा चलेछ नर्भसै भएको थियो सो तर उसले के गर्यो देन हि फ्ल्याप हिज विङ है अनि जब फ्ल्याप गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हि कुड सोर अपवर्ड अथवा हि कुड फ्लाइ अपवर्ड्स भन्दैछ अनि त्यति नै त्यो देख्दाखेरि उसको आमालाई है सी वाज भेरी ह्याप्पी कि फाइनली उसको छोरा चाहिँ के गर्न थाल्यो उड्नु थाल्यो भन्दैछ होइन उड्दाखेरि चाहिँ उसको पनि गा 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 भन्दै कराउँदै सी अल्सो सुप डाउन है सुप भनेको तल झर्नु होइन सो एकदम उड्दै तल झरेर उसको छेउमा आयो भन्दैछ है अनि हर विङ्स मेकिङ लड नोइज हुन्छ है एकदम ठुलो आवाजले त्यो उसको विङ्स पनि आमाको विङ्स पनि ठुलो आवाज आउँदै ऊ तल झऱ्यो भन्दैछ है अनि हि एन्सर्ड हर ब्याक है अनि उसले पनि गागा भन्दा फेरि उसलाई एकदम आमालाई पनि एन्सर गर्यो भन्दैछ अनि त्यो देखेर उसको बाउ पनि हिज फादर अल्सो केम डाउन स्क्रिमिङ है कराउँदै उसको बाउ पनि आयो अनि इभन हिज टु ब्रदर्स एन्ड हिज सिस्टर अल्सो केम फ्लाइङ टुवर्ड्स हिम है अनि उसको वरिपरि एकदम एक्साइटमेन्ट होल फ्यामिली है एक्साइटेडमा हुँदै उनीहरूको सेलिब्रेट गरेको जस्तो नि सबैजना फ्यामिली आएर उसँग के गर्नु थाल्यो दे स्टार्ट सोरिङ एन्ड डाइभिङ है माथि उड्दै मुनि डाइभ भनेको मुनि हामी डाइभ गर्दा पनि वी डाइभ डाउनवर्ड्स है अनि सोरिङ भनेको अपवर्ड्स अनि माथि तल गर्दै उड्दै उनीहरू के गर्नु दे स्टार्टेड सेलिब्रेटिङ that he had not always been able to fly and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve shrinking shrilly he was near the sea now flying straight over it facing straight out over the ocean he saw a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly okay shrinking भनेको to make a high pitched sound है श्रीली भनेको पनि लाउडली अर फोर्सफुल्ली कराउनु है वेट अगाडि पनि थियो है अनि रिजेस भनेको लङ न्यारो हिल टप ओके अथवा माउन्टेन रेन्जलाई रिजेसहरू भन्छ अनि काउ भनेको अटर काउ अथवा काउको काग जस्तै है एकदम काउ जस्तै कराउनुलाई के भन्छ इज अ काउ अलराइट हिज fear and once he overcame his fear he forgot that once he was afraid of he did all those things he once feared हैन उले जुन गर्न जुन डराएको थियो त्यो सबै गर्न थाल्यो भन्दैछ जस्तै डाइभिङ सोर है कर्व श्रिङ्किङ श्रेली एकदम कराउँदै यता उता डाइभ गर्नु once he was afraid अब once he overcome his fear he started doing everything भन्दैछ है अनि he flight straight over the sea अनि could see the greenery and mountain beneath him हैन ridges beneath him है अनि he screamed out of joy है as he enjoyed the victory अथवा एकदमै खुसी हुँदै है and he turned his big sideway and cawed amusedly भन्दै एकदम खुसी हुँदै हैन amused why because he has victory over his fear अनि त्यो कारण एकदम खुसी हुँदै he cawed भन्दै cawed अथवा काउ गर्दै कराउन थाल्यो भन्दैछ and sister had landed on this green floor ahead of him They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his leg to stand on the green sea. His leg sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wing. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise. Exhausted by the strange exercise, his feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beak were offering him scrap of dogfish. He made his first flight. Beckoning means a gesture. Okay. Sibling landed on the green flooring ahead of him. And they were calling him. Beckoning means a gesture to calling. एकदम बोलाउँदै गरेको gesture भनेर we call it beckoning. So they were calling him and they were very happy. They were very proud of him. त्यो कारण उनीहरू एकदमै कराउँदै they were crying in high pitch. अनि त्यो कराउँदै गर्दा he went अनि he went at first he was afraid उसलाई डर भयो because his leg sank into it भन्दा चाहिँ ऊ चाहिँ पानीमा उसको खुट्टा पस्यो भन्दैछ है अनि he screamed with fright है ऊ डरले एकदम करायो पनि अनि again he started flapping his wing है अनि अलिकति उठ्यो तर he was very tired because he was hungry है त्यो कारण he could not rise from that sea है अनि exhausted है एकदम exhausted थाकेर भोकले थाकेर एकदमै he was very exhausted है तर ऊ के भन्दैछ भने ऊ चाहिँ के गरेन he did not sank है ऊ चाहिँ त्यहाँ डुबेन भन्दैछ नडुबेर चाहिँ ऊ त्यही नै तरिबस्यो भन्दैछ है उसको belly touched the sea but he did not sank है अनि he was floating on it so again उसको फ्यामिलीहरु आएर एकदम कराउँदै आयो they came एकदम they were very proud of him they were very happy they came screaming है अनि praising him अनि उलाई चाहिँ है एकदम उड्नको लागि अझै उसको उलाई के गरे उसको उलाई चाहिँ they offered him the scrap of dogfish है कुनै एउटा माछा हुन्छ त्यो माछाहरुको टुक्राहरु स्क्रैप्सहरु टुक्राहरु उलाई दियो भन्दैछ अनि दिएपछि again then he made his first flight so finally he succeeded he overcome his fear है उसले आफ्नो आमाको कारणले गर्दा है उसको आमाको कारणले गर्दा he overcome his fear and made his first flight all right there are exercise in your book पनि छ there are two parts है यो story दुई part को छ first you finish this exercise है अनि I have also given some questions over here अनि first मा तिमीले यो exercise लाई complete गर्नु send me in my personal WhatsApp after that I will be sending you answers also अनि once you do that 80% ले मलाई जब you send me I will start with your next lesson all right so COVID-19 is rising in Sikkim so kindly stay safe that's a very important thing है हाम्रो स्कुल पनि it will only run in the from first week of August त्यसले गर्दाखेरि is a very high time to you to take care of yourself है अनि एजुकेसन एकदम स्टडीज मा पनि ध्यान दिने अनि प्लस एकदम सेफ पनि बस्ने okay so till then all the best है अनि take care bye bye and thank you